I am really delighted to have a wonderful guest on the show today to kick off our Ramadan series. I am joined today by Shahd Karaeen, and this we are going to be discussing her beautiful new poetry collection today, which is called Re-Embroidered, Her Resilient Voice. So just off with a quick introduction to Shahd, who has been on Inspire FM before with her debut poetry collection. So really, really excited to have Shahd back on the show. So Shahd is formerly known as Shahd Mahnavi, navigated a challenging upbringing as the daughter of an influential political figure in Jerusalem. Witnessing her father's commitment to Palestinian freedom fueled her own journey towards self-discovery. Experiencing oppression and the weight of her heritage, Shahd bravely left her home at 18, seeking refuge in the UK for a fresh start and freedom. Embracing the opportunities that London offered, she worked in diverse fields such as beauty and hospitality, eventually establishing successful businesses. Transitioning from the business, filed into her creative roots, Shahd found her true calling as a voice for her people, drawing from her deep-rooted identity and her father's influential legacy. Through her evocative poetry and collaborations with artists such as Ragman Jones, she sheds light on the struggles of marginalized women and tirelessly fundraises for Palestinian causes. Notably, Shahd has authored a poetry book and an EP, and her performances have helped raise over £500,000 for Palestinian charities in 2024. Despite her achievements, Shahd remains steadfast in her mission. Presently, she's working on a fictional novella that confronts the pervasive issue of domestic violence across cultures, challenging the normalized acceptance of such abuse. So that is the introduction to our guest today, Shahd Karaeen. So I'm just going to say Assalamu alaikum, Shahd.
Assalamu alaikum, Imrana, and Ramadan Mubarak to you. And thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you so much, Mohan Mubarak, and for taking the time to talk to me again. And I'm so excited to learn more about this new collection, which is called Re-Embroidered. So maybe we can kind of start there. So I last interviewed you in April last year for your book White Shoes. So I'm interested to know, how have you been since then? What has the journey been like in the run up to publishing this second book?
Basically, since then, Imrana, I have been reflecting deeper into my Palestinian heritage. And also, I was honored to be awarded as a writer in residence at Swerve Magazine in Ireland in May last year. I've also been actively involved in various fundraising events, as you mentioned earlier. Also participated in over 70 events between 2024 and 2025. And also, while I was raising awareness about the oppression in my homeland, I also dedicated time to shedding light on the issues of domestic violence. So through my poetry and work on Re-Embroidered, I really aim to inspire others to break free from abuse and empower them to seek help and support.
Yeah, and I've been following things that you've been online, and mashallah, so much. I guess it's kind of that of both arts, creativity, and activism. I think it's been really amazing to see all the amazing things that you've been doing. So what was the reason then, particularly for the title of this new collection, which is called Resilient Voice? I was kind of interested to know a bit about that.
When you think re-embroidery, right? It's like it's something already stitched that need restitching. So basically us, right? It just symbolizes the act of rebuilding yourself again from scratch. So it's just basically what inspired me is my love for our Palestinian re-embroidery, traditional Palestinian dresses. And, the process of creating them stitch by stitch it's a journey of self improvement, to carefully, stitching ourselves back together with threads of healing and forgiveness.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
such a kind of powerful way. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
no, just through the suffering, and it's basically just
Mm.
to become something more powerful within you.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it was, yeah, just going to reflect on the words you used in terms of both healing and forgiveness. And actually, yeah, it's so important, especially for ourselves as women. And you cap that kind of is captured so well in the cover image of the book. There's a lady who is you can see is kind of stitching together what look like wings, and like, where did that idea come from? Like, did you was this design concept yourself? Did you work with somebody?
Basically, I thought of how would I want, how do I feel? So I thought I would like to see myself sitting down, just on my knees and trying to stitch my wings back on. And then I connected my heritage. So my heritage, as I mentioned to you earlier, is Palestinian. Re-embroidered dresses, embroidery. So I thought, yes, I want to add to my wings. So I took my idea to my good friend. Again, I collaborated with him before, Ramadhan Johns, and I asked him to help me bring it, bring it to life. And yeah, we worked together on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it does. It really, it's a beautiful thing to kind of, both in terms of colors, but of course, yeah, the message, the idea of having to, yeah, re-embroider your kind of wings back on, and you think of wings, automatically think of this feeling of, I guess, freedom and hope, and I think it's really,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely, so beautiful. And so, like, reading obviously the blurb of this poetry collection at the back. So obviously we've got Shahd Karaeen's poetry book vividly portrays her personal struggle to overcome her toughest challenges, striving for freedom as a Palestinian woman confronting various forms of injustice. The journey unfolds as she discovers peace and empowerment in the art of poetry. Her narrative intricately weaves together themes of breaking free from intergenerational hardships, defying social constraints, and ultimately embracing her identity as a resilient woman. Through her work, she shares her belief in the power of self-expression. So I guess my next kind of question was, in the introduction to this book, you mentioned your silent journey through suffering, and also the idea of this, fight to freedom. So, what has kind of the last year been like for you as a Palestinian? I guess seeing both, the pro-Palestinian protests, over the past,
Yeah.
15 months or so, even more,
Mhm.
but also, witnessing the silence of the media and the government. So, yeah, just like a reflection, your thoughts on that.
Imrana, Allah given us hope. And if we don't have the iman that there will be a change, a positive change, we will feel hopeless. So we have to hold on to the idea that there will be a better change for our people, for oppression, basically for justice. So I want justice for everyone, really, but I really believe that my people would receive the justice they deserve. But the killing hasn't stopped, and the protest. Everyone been raising awareness, but it did not end the war. And we just had to remain resilient. And I have personally experienced being shadow banned, and I'm sure many other activists as well. And it just been a form of silencing us on social media platforms. And the media and government's silence doesn't surprise me really, because I believe they could see there will be a change when we unite together for a good purpose. It's peace. Everyone wants peace, Imrana. And that's really, it's just about being together in solidarity. It will take time. Everyone's hard
Mhm.
work will take time, but we have to stay persistence, and we shouldn't give
Mhm.
up. So there
Mhm.
will be a change, but we just have to keep seeing the bigger picture, the change that we want to happen. So just about determination, really, Imrana.
Yeah. Yeah, and such important kind of, I guess, words, this idea of both resistance and persistence, the fact that absolutely, and of course, this is it. I guess when we talk about, or when people talk about activism, it's a doing thing, right? It's about taking action, and that's never been easy. But then I guess to have a gift like yours, where you've got the gift of poetry and you're able to share that with the world, again, there's so much. Uh yeah, kind of, it does, I guess, bring an opportunity for people to come together in solidarity, so again, Allah, obviously grant you so much success in everything that you do,
I
um
mean,
and
thank you,
like
Imrana.
you no, I mean, thank you for just sharing your poetry and writing it. And, it's always a joy to read, and it really makes you kind of think deeply as well. And I was wondering, your first poem in this collection, Re-Embroidered, is titled Blamed. And you kind of explore contrasting emotions within this. And
Yeah.
it did make me think that, how are you managing all these feelings as a poet? What helps you? And maybe a little bit, but what is your writing process like, even?
Do you know, it's inner work. There's a lot of inner work as a writer and a poet. Also, you
Mhm.
always, even as a woman, Imrana, we are programmed to carry a guilt. It's
Mm.
something that we kind of grew up with, that there's always something where we are always at fault. And everything we do, we have to question it constantly. So I just kind of had to do a lot of inner work and healing, and I had to reflect. I invested significant effort into understanding myself and understanding and accepting everyone around me, before accepting, everyone. I accepted myself, and I knew I cannot make everyone happy. So Alhamdulillah,
Mm.
I'm content with myself, and I'm
Mhm.
content with the path I have chosen. So that's why this poem meant a lot to me, because I was constantly blamed. And I don't
Mhm.
talk only for myself. I'm talking for a lot of women out there who feel they're always blamed for things they don't even understand, and
Mm.
they actually believe it's their fault. And that's why,
Mhm.
Imrana, we don't move forward as well. We always try to
Mhm.
move forward, but people's subconsciously, are the blame that's just being thrown at us. We're thinking, oh, I
Mhm.
can't do this. And it's fear. So for me,
Mhm.
I just, when I wrote it, I felt like, okay, it's a feeling, is a contrasting feeling of my instant blame, and the moment I
Mhm.
had to channel my pain into words,
Mhm.
allowing me to process my experiences and feelings.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's so many, I guess, poets and writers who say that process of writing is really cathartic. And that this idea that, what you're speaking about in terms of self-love and self-acceptance. I know, nowadays sometimes these terms become like a little bit kind of like buzzwords, but actually, the fact that you can tell through your writing that that you've done that. And actually, what a wonderful message to kind of give to other readers, and other women as well, because I think you're right. It's almost like this built-in system or mechanism that we've been almost forced to
Yeah,
carry, the feeling of blame and guilt, and shame, and there's so many things, isn't there?
yeah.
um
Even
mm,
resting, some women, they
oh
feel
gosh,
guilty and they get
yeah,
blamed. You've been resting too
yeah,
much. You shouldn't rest.
god, It's so true, isn't it? It's yeah, absolutely. And I'm just thinking, how because obviously when we talk about empowerment, I guess that's what we mean, don't we? That actually
Yeah,
it's that self empowerment, that you grow to understand your own needs and your own wants, and
yeah,
then not to yeah, exactly, not to feel guilty, just because you want those things for yourself, because that's important. And whether we're mothers or carers or teachers, I mean, whatever we do in life, like yeah, absolutely, you want to be able to definitely definitely
yeah,
rest and have that recovery so you can kind of give to the world, so no,
yes.
alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
um
Thank you.
and yeah, and I guess that moves on to a little bit to my next question, because you have the poem which is titled She Needed This, Unhealed Child, and within that, you talk about clutching to hope amidst the storm. And I know you've kind of mentioned about, we've talked a little bit about the importance of holding on to hope in the world we're living in at the moment. But just generally, like, what are some of the things that help you stay hopeful?
When I look at other people, for instance, who have faced or still face unimaginable hardships, such homeless people, and those
Mm,
who go to bed hungry, those caught in the crossfire wars like Gaza and many other countries, and I consider their struggles. I'm reminded of my own privilege and the blessings in my life. So it really
mm,
fills me with gratitude and a sense of responsibility that I need to be on that mission to harness my voice and creativity, not for myself, to make a
mm,
change for other people that need our voices as creative artists, whether through writing, painting, or poetry, to advocate for change, something peaceful and loving, and I believe that while we are all, aware of the world's injustices, it is imperative that we come together to seek solutions. So that is a mission that I reflect. Yes, my hardships in my past is valid, does not mean it should break me and just basically I give up, because I've learned through my past experiences that I am capable. I managed to break free from my own traumas. So I'm able to help other people at the moment. And that's something that is giving me a passion to wake up, a passion, motivation to get up, to keep, growing for not for myself only, for others.
mhm. Yeah. And I sense that passion kind of, speaking with you when I read your poetry as well. And I mean, for example, there's one poem that you have which is called One-Sided. And,
Yeah.
you start off that poem by saying love should never cause pain when you know what you desire to gain. And, again, it's such a, it's again, it's a really quite a deep poem that really is making you think about what I guess love
Yeah.
really means. And I guess I was thinking, what message might you like readers to take away from that particular poem, One-Sided, which is exploring true love?
It is a sad poem because, to be honest, a lot of people don't know what love is because they
Mm,
haven't really experienced that
mm,
feeling within themselves, and they're always trying to find it through other people. So you're thinking you're waiting for other people to validate you. And true
mhm,
love is built also on mutual respect and understanding. So people need to recognize the difference between pain and manipulation. You need to attract genuine love. We have to really understand what it is first. Because a lot of
mhm.
times, we talk about red flags, don't we? A lot of women thinking, oh, that's the red flag.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
about recognizing the red flags. And because once you know what you deserve, you'll be more open to accepting healthy love, healthy relationships. And it's not only about, the opposite sex. We're talking about, for instance, it's actually friendships. families. So you're talking about your relationships with a lot of people, and including your children, and it's about knowing what you deserve within yourself. So this is how we can know what's true love.
And it does. I mean, that particular poem really does make you think that there's so many relationships we have, and absolutely, like you said, this isn't just we're not just talking about like romantic relationships, or like even just marriage. You're right, it's beyond that. It could be with parents or siblings or friends, and it's so important that that because part of life, or the blessing of life, should be that we should be able to experience that, and like and we spoke obviously already, like about self-love, and I guess now we're talking a little bit about what true love, I guess, should be. And it was really making me think, while I was reading your poetry collection, Re-Embroidered, because obviously we live in an age now of like social media, and you have obviously a poem which is titled Self-Love. But I guess, what advice might you give to somebody who kind of feels overwhelmed with social media, like kind of the need to be on it, but also becoming feels almost all consuming? But so sorry, I guess my question is, what advice might you give somebody who kind of feels overwhelmed with that and wants to, or prefers to spend their time in a more productive way, so to speak?
Do you know the problem is, Imrana, everything that our work is on our phone, our emails, also our life, really, isn't it? Like, you stay connected with everything. And unfortunately, it's not like a shift where you say, okay, I'm on my phone from 9 to 2, and then you clock out. It's basically, you have to have um, the power, the will to you say, okay, I'm done now. I don't have like a strong determination to just say, I'm not going to be on my phone. And if it's difficult, I would say leave your phone in a different room, or turn off notifications, because it's constantly, even with me, Imrana, I leave my phone. I'm like, okay, I want to write, and then I get notification buzzing, because you know what it is. It's always the phone. This is how it works, isn't it? Social media, what it keeps telling you, oh, there's a like, oh, there's a share, there's this, there's that. So you have to know that, okay, no, I have to kind of be control over myself. I don't want social media to have the power over me. So I honestly think the best thing is to have always quiet time with yourself. Just take the time to connect with yourself. That's what I do, because that's how you try to grow, isn't it? And it's an addiction. The phones are an addiction, because once you hold your phone, you want to send an email, then there's another notification, then you go on your social media, then you actually forget why you're using your phone. Why are you? Because there's so many things at once, and it's that time off where you say, okay, no phones, focus on building a life, that aligns with your values and desires, and also to sit down and reflect and embrace your uniqueness. And not to sit down and say, okay, let's find external validation. Let's feel better. How many likes do we have? Oh, just that feeling, Imrana, before smartphones, isn't it? Just like, it's about celebrating who we are, and try to have activities, basically, that will enrich your life and help you feel contentment. It's a hobby, maybe spending time in nature, or just basically, instead of texting, just go and see loved ones. Life is too short. So,
so true. So true. You've kind of you kind of being a catalyst for me to make sure I turn my notifications off now, and But you're right. You're right. It really is about making time just for quiet time, right? So we don't want to always have
Yeah.
this have so much background noise and and this constant needing to kind of be connected online. And I think all those points are so important and really good advice. So we are heading over to a break now. So we are listeners talking to Shahd Karaeen about her new poetry collection called Re-Embroidered, Her Resilient Voice. And in the second half of the show, we'll hear from Shahd read a couple of poems and speak a little bit more about the collection as a whole. So in the meantime, keep the dial on and we'll be back in a few moments. So, Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن.
Enjoy quality and tasty 100% authentic halal Chinese and Thai food from Gao Express. Brought to you by the team behind Top's Pizza in Luton. Choose from all your delicious Chinese and Thai favourites. Then order for delivery or collection from Gao Express in Wellington Street, Luton, Marketplace, Stevenage, and now also on Nightingale Road in Hitchin. Open daily midday till late. Find the number or order online at Gao, that's GAO, express.co.uk, or like Gao Express on Facebook.
Today's focus is the power of niyyah, or intention. Did you know actions are judged by intentions, and every person will be rewarded according to their intention? This is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari. Write down your Ramadan goals today.
This is Tokir Sethi from Peterborough, and you're listening to Inspire FM on 105.1 FM.
वेस्टबोर्न फार्मेसी हफ्ते के 7 दिन सुबह 9 बजे से लेकर रात 9 बजे तक खुली रहती है। हमारी सर्विसेज में शामिल हैं ट्रैवल वैक्सीनेशंस, स्टॉप स्मोकिंग, डायबिटीज चेक, बच्चों की ग़िज़ा और बहुत कुछ। लुटन और डंस्टेबल में फ्री प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, पिकअप और डिलीवरी सर्विसेज भी की जाती है। इसके अलावा आप मेडिसिन के इस्तेमाल के लिए फ्री मशवरा भी ले सकते हैं। वेस्टबोर्न फार्मेसी 198 B Dunstable Road, Luton, corner of Westbourne Road. Telephone 01582 419 432.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hamza Fletcher, and I would like to wish the listeners of Inspire FM Ramadan Mubarak. Keep listening to Inspire on 105.1 FM.
दुनिया के सबसे दूर दराज इलाकों में बूले बिस्तर कम्युनिटीज हर रोज जिद्दोजहद करते हैं। इंसाफ फाउंडेशन उम्मीद लेकर आती है साफ पानी, महफूज घर, तालीम और रोजगार उन जरूरतमंदों के लिए जो बेसहारा हैं। हमारे मकामी फील्ड वर्कर्स हर केस की तस्दीक करते हैं। हम मुकम्मल शफाफियत, वीडियोस अपडेट और माली रिपोर्ट्स फराहम करते हैं। आपकी हर दी हुई पैनी बराह रास्त जिंदगियों को बदलने में जाती है। आपका अतिया एक इमानत है। आप एक अंसार बनिए, किसी की जिंदगी बदलिए। अभी आप ansarfoundation.co.uk विजिट करें।
Hey Sainsbury's, how can I ace iftar after work?
We've got savings on all the staples, like Tahira Kudri dates for breaking your fast, down from £3.50 to £2.50 with Nectar. Plus, grab a 5 kilo bag of East End Chukiata flour, usually £10.75, now £6.75 with Nectar.
At this rate, I'll invite the neighbours too.
For big savings this Ramadan, ask Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's, good food for all of us.
Nectar required, 18 plus, subject to availability in selected stores and online, excludes locals, ends 30th of March.
With him are the keys of the unseen, the treasures that none knoweth but he. He knoweth whatever there is on the earth and in the sea. Not a leaf doth fall, but with his knowledge. There is not a grain in the darkness or depths of the earth, nor anything fresh or dry, green or withered, but it is inscribed in a record clear to those who can read.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the book club show on Inspire 105.1 FM. My name is Imrana Mahmood, and on today's show we are talking to Shahd Karaeen about her latest poetry collection called Re-Embroidered, Her Resilient Voice. In the first half of the show we were talking a little bit about obviously the fact that there's been lots going on in the media in terms of the plight of the Palestinians, the importance of holding power to account, bearing witness to the injustice and really being able to speak up about it. Now, Shahd's been doing lots of that through her art, through her writing, fundraising for different charities as well. So doing really, really amazing and important work. And at the same time, this particular collection of poetry is shedding light on domestic abuse and domestic violence as well. So there will be things on today's show that we're obviously talking about, which is dealing with difficult, matters, but, so important that we're able to openly talk about these things and inshallah work for really, positive change. So I'm really delighted to welcome Shahd back on today's show. And the next question I really had in mind was, obviously we've got this beautiful poetry collection, and was to ask Shahd about the illustration on the cover, because obviously we know the title of the book is called Re-Embroidered. I was really found the cover really intriguing. So Shahd, could you explain a little bit about where this kind of inspiration for the cover came from, and what is it that from your perspective is it trying to convey perhaps?
Basically it tries to convey that there is hope. It's never too late, even though if you feel you're broken, and there is a way to put yourself together. For me, is seeing the stitching. Basically, is a Palestinian woman is stitching her wings, and it's actually the thread is stronger than before. So it's gold. It's through experience that will rise again more, and she, wanting to make change, because it's like giving a new life to her. So her wing is in her. If you open the book, the back, basically just the cover, you could see that there's wings glowing from her back. This is a message of not giving up, and there's no one to give up. There's always self work, and work hard, self daily. I mean, it doesn't end there. But there's a lot that everyone can see it from their own perspective. But for me, it's just about, trying your best to find the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, what you spoke about in terms of that kind of broken wing, and then using, kind of embroidering, re-embroidering, right? Yourself back together. It's so, it kind of encapsulates so much, and I think there's so much beauty. I mean, you can kind of sense the hardship and the pain, but also the beauty of being to kind of bring yourself together again. And actually, when we talk about things being broken, or kind of that feeling of brokenness, that we know that Allah is with the brokenhearted, and he is with people who kind of do sense that, right? And again, this idea of hope is such a it's something resonates again throughout the things that you're saying, and even in your poetry as well. And we spoke a little bit earlier on about your poem, which is kind of explores true love, and then you have another one which is focusing on self-love, which is obviously the title of the poem. And there's a mention there of kind of social media, and I thought it's such an interesting thing. I wanted to ask you, because we really, of course, are in the age of social media and technology, and this idea of always having to put yourself out there, like visually, aesthetically, and sharing so many kind of parts of our lives. And how do you think we can find self-love amidst all of that kind of, background noise, so to speak?
I mean, I have to admit, I'm guilty of it at times. I think we all are at times.
Yeah, of course.
And you try your best to work on it, that you don't get, sunk into the addiction, basically, isn't it? You just always check, you get notifications. So I think for me, what I tend to do is either leave my phone in a different room or turn off my notifications to kind of leave it, because I know social media often doesn't reflect reality. It's curated and filtered. So I take the time to just connect with yourself and explore your passions, focus on building a life that really aligns with your values and desires. To embrace our uniqueness. We don't really need external validation, but unfortunately social media does that, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of people want to check how many likes they have or shares, and it's so easy. I have children, so for me, unfortunately, no matter how much I try with my kids, but it's the whole generation. Everyone is doing it. They're constantly on their phones. But I think you have to be hard on yourself, where you set either a time limit, a screen time, and just to invest in different activities, whether it's, pursuing a hobby, spending time in nature, or connecting even with loved ones without phones, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. And I think, what you said about, just making time for making sure your values align, right? And it's so important that we're able to do that whichever way that we do it. And definitely, I think, like you said, we're all guilty of it. And and it can be something as simple as just switching notifications off and just kind of dedicating, time without the phone. And of course it's a challenge, but no, for sure it's so important. And I was hoping actually in the second half of the show that the listeners can get a little bit of a taste of some of your poetry. Would you be happy to share a couple of poems?
Yes, that I would love to. Yes, definitely. Thanks.
So lovely. It's always a treat kind of hearing a poet share their own poems. So feel free, whichever poem that you'd like. It'd be lovely to hear.
Sure, because it's a new published poetry book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a look and see.
Sure.
Would you like me to recite one now?
Yes, please. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. This one is called The Wiser I in Me. Comes a time in our life we step away and say I, a moment where we hold our heads high. I choose me, within my being, within my essence true. After many nights and days, putting others before I, picking them, picking theirs and others too. I choose me, embracing my colors anew, collapsing the paint I once knew, dropping it with grace. The dark fog dissipates. I push it away, finding my place. Time doesn't stand, it runs, a whirlwind of emotions untamed. In this roller coaster, where views may seem maimed, creating and collecting myself, wiping away the thorns that tore. I pluck each one that pierced, leaving me stronger than before. I stand, understanding, deciding my own point of view, blowing away the dust that once blurred my view too. For in this journey of self-discovery, I find a stronger, wiser I in me. Thank you.
Amazing. No, thank you. No, that's amazing, mashallah. So much depth to your writing, and again, like I know, like we keep speaking of the word and using the word hope, but it is that there is so much hope within your writing. So no, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I guess like a question that was coming to my mind about your poetry as well is like you spoke earlier on about wanting to shed light on kind of the issue of domestic violence, etc. as well. Do you feel that it's becoming easier for women to speak up about these things? Do you think there's more support available, or is there still more that can be done in terms of communities coming together, I guess, and what else collection or collective action we can take together?
Thing is, Imrana, I don't think it's ever going to be easy. The reason is because of our background and culture, because many women are taught to be patient and endure, leading to the misconception that abuse behavior is acceptable. For example, some may mistake loyalty by protecting their abuser, which can keep them trapped in a relationship. There is a lot of support available, but the truth is actually the saddest part is actually recognizing it, recognizing that you are being abused, because it's normalized in our society, in some of the cultures, it's the need that we're always having to protect them. We always have to feel the most resilient woman, or the amazing woman is the one that puts up with her husband, with the abuse. And it is very challenging. The most challenging part is often the first step. Victims not only face their abuser, but also deal with enablers, like families, friends, who even may reinforce the abuser's behavior and make the victim even doubt their own experiences. So breaking free from such situations really requires immense strength and resilience. And like we spoke earlier, fear can be a significant barrier, preventing many women from taking that crucial first step towards freedom and healing. And if more of us speak out, that will make it easier for others to come forward. But again, it depends really of our backgrounds. I really do believe that but change be done, really does.
Yeah, and what you're saying is really interesting, isn't it? Because how do certain people define resilience? And like you said, that sometimes that word is almost used as a way of enabling certain abusive behaviors. You're right, because some women, they're considered to be resilient and brave if they're able to stay and put up with it. And of course, that's absolutely not the cases. Of course it shouldn't be that way. And so I think that's what's so then important, because through your poetry you're kind of shedding light on this, and you're actually kind of almost redefining actually what real resilience is. And of course it is to be brave, to be able to take that first step and speak up about it. And I guess almost even though of course no woman or person who's in such a relationship necessarily wants to be the one kind of, I guess, leading that pathway. Sometimes, it is what happens, because when women see other women who are speaking out, who are kind of really advocating for, justice, etc., it does inspire others, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And it just basically acknowledging that what you're going through is abuse, and that can be normalized, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. So it's kind of almost advocating for for what is right. And then and in terms of support, I think you're right. Of course, there is a lot of support, but I guess it's that initial first step, isn't it? And you're right, absolutely. It's like, where's the acknowledgement of it in the first place? And so, and I guess that was what was really quite refreshing for me as well, to read your book, Re-Embroidered, Her Resilient Voice, and the fact you're tackling, these different issues, I think is really important as well. And then now, like, there's another poem which is kind of slightly different, and it kind of gave me a different feel when reading it. So you've got a poem called My Secret Garden, and I thought it was really, really poignant, and obviously it made me think a lot about nature, and I guess, to what extent does being in nature, or kind of even thinking about it, I guess, help in that journey of healing?
It's a wonderful journey, Imrana. I can sit at my desk and be that secret garden. I didn't really, the way I wrote this poem through my imagination.
Okay. That's interesting.
I do love nature. I do love walking in the forest and just basically, but it's the imagination. It's all inside my, my mind, really. I can instantly travel anywhere I want to start writing. Basically, I can be anywhere and start writing. But the thing is about that poem, My Secret Garden, I was in a very dark place, and alhamdulillah, that through writing, I imagined my happy place. And this was the journey. It was nature, because nature, especially, I moved outside of London, and, London is very busy. Now I live in a more quiet, greenery area. So there, I didn't have the time really to enjoy nature, but I just thought writing this poem is nature plays a significant role in anyone's journey of healing. And also making it crucial. We need to disconnect from that environment of social media and chasing after, our job, or money, or just, it's just to disconnect from life and spending time in nature, just to find peace and clarity away from the noise of digital distractions. And also for me, being a natural, it just has, and everyone having this calming effect on our minds and bodies. It does stress. And also nature encourages us to slow down and breathe and reconnect with ourselves, which is also essential for healing. And also, you're in nature, it just reminds us, doesn't it, that life is ever changing, just like seasons. And that growth is possible even after difficult times.
No, absolutely. And again, it's this idea of, as seasons change, so do we, and nothing ever stays kind of stagnant. We're constantly, evolving. And you're right, just like you said, to kind of step away from those digital distractions and reconnect with nature. But you did an amazing thing, though, to call a poem My Secret Garden and talk so much about nature, but to use your imagination is obviously like fantastic. That's absolutely brilliant.
I was just finished work and I was so tired of the
so lovely.
And I sat at my desk. I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to be in nature right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. No, I mean, it's so, it's amazing that you're able to do that. And I think sometimes it is the case. Maybe there are people who don't have access to nature straight away because they're living in an urban environment, but how lovely just to make time and just get lost in your thoughts of it, though. Even that is in itself quite, I guess, a healing process. So and I was going to ask, it'd be really lovely if we could hear maybe another poem from your collection.
Yes, sure.
So
Rise and Shine.
Yes, yeah. And how perfect, I think, to kind of flow straight into Rise and Shine, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. Thank you. So, there you go. So this is for everyone out there that's struggling to rise. Embrace yourself. Stand tall and strong. Don't be afraid to journey along. Your voice unheard, not where you belong. Grow with courage, for you do no wrong. Water your gut, let your spirit fortify. Loneliness they decry, that is a lie. You're told a man where you should tie. Yet within you shine as you reach for the sky. Just grow, O women, powerful and wise. Let your pain show. Don't wear a disguise. Sadness fading from your eyes. Your strength and light they will never despise. As you grow, they may call you selfish and cold. Loving yourself is worth more than they know. Your love shines bright, strong and bold, blocking doubts. Let your truth be told. So rise and shine in your own unique way. Let your inner strength guide you in every day. Embrace self-love. Chase doubts away. You are strong women. Don't let others betray. Thank you.
No, thank you. Another fantastic poem, Rise and Shine. And I think, again, it's, capturing so much, I guess the importance of all the things I guess we've spoken about today, in terms of embracing fear and self-love and self-belief almost, right? I think it's so lovely the way you've written it, and again it has that kind of sense of hopefulness, again, and on that note, I guess my kind of last question really was, because of all the things that we've spoken about today and specifically to do with your poetry collection Re-Embroidered, you even reference yourself as a re-embroidered Palestinian in your last poem. What are your own hopes and dreams for like 2025?
My hopes and dreams for 2025 revolve around the world where people are not burdened by concerns about ethnicity, religion, background. I do, Imrana, envision a society that embraces acceptance and celebrates our differences, where we are valued for who we truly are rather than judged by superficial differences. I also dream collaborating through art to convey messages of peace and unity, using creativity as a bridge to connect us all. It's also important that we work together to foster understanding and compassion, rather than facing rejection for simply being ourselves, which is happening. I also hope, and inshallah, and I pray to Allah for justice and freedom for Palestinians and all those currently experiencing injustice. Also, I aspire to contribute to a future where love and understanding and unity over division, creating harmonious communities around the world. Inshallah.
No, I mean, and Ameen to all of the things that you've kind of verbalized, spoken about, and again, it is really just harnessing the power of creativity in art, and just really acknowledging, like you said, that it's such a powerful tool for connection and kind of spreading acceptance and love and all those things, that we hope for not obviously just this year, but for all the coming years, inshallah. It's been an absolute joy, Shahd, speaking to you. Thank you so much for putting this collection out in the world. It's called Re-Embroidered, Her Resilient Voice, and inshallah I hope I hope for the best for you and for everything that you're doing, and definitely next time we'll have you in the studio. We'll bring you to Luton and speak to you here.
Thank you, Imrana, for having me. It was so wonderful to be on your show.
Thank you so much, Sakala. So, listeners, obviously I'll be back soon with a new book, and inshallah speaking to a different author. In the meantime, do keep us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum.
एक वक्फे के बाद साबरा हुसैन पेश करेंगी